All right. Now that we have this outline, though, it's all about defining the experience. So we have a four-step process that we go through to define the experience. It's very similar to story mapping. There's actually components of story mapping, but we have some additional aspects that we put in as well. The first step is the user personas. So the user personas is our opportunity to set the stage and really understand who the user is. This is super important for us as we go through the rest of the process because we want to be able to put ourselves in their shoes so that we can go through the experience and think through the problems that we're trying to solve with them in mind and not with ourselves in mind. Before we kind of actually, this is just before I kind of go into a little bit of the personas, I want to talk a little bit about the cast of people that are going to be involved in this defining the experience. We've simplified it down to 4 key pillars. The idea here is that you need input from all of these people to shape this experience and help formalize the story. So first off is the user. The user is super important. That they're who you're building the app for. We put 2 different types of users. We call these our extreme users. We want people who are veterans of the system, who are using the app all the time. And we also want people who are new. You look at somebody who just went through training, maybe they still have some of the rough edges around where the pain points are. So we want both of those perspectives. The user, again, that's who we're building the software for, building the experience for. We combine that with the product, where that's kind of where the vision comes from, right? So the vision for that user, we combine that with our creative team and any kind of creative people within your organization. And ultimately, come up with ideas that are influenced by tech. So we have to have the technical feasibility and also the technical foresight to kind of think of what might be possible. So all 4 of these components kind of help shape the story as we go along. One other note about the personas. So we use a tool here, and we're going to use a tool here today called Mural. It's a story mapping tool, amongst other things. It's essentially, it enables you to have a really nice remote whiteboarding experience. When we typically do these, we oftentimes try to get everybody together. We think it's super important to get a collaborative experience out of this. So we typically get as many people in the room as possible. But we've seen a lot of success with this, using this remotely. And having other remote teams be able to use this, and it also has the added benefit of being cataloged at the end. So there's a link here, but I'll also be showing this tool throughout. All right, so back to that first step on the personas. So what we try to do with the personas is two simple things. There's a number of different areas you can kind of go with personas, but for us, we like to keep it really simple. Who's the persona and what are their goals? In this case, we have customer Christina. They run an office and they need to make sure their supplies are well stocked. We have our salesperson who's Jim, our Jim Halpert, and then we have our warehouse manager Daryl. So again, we're not trying to do a ton here. We just really want to understand, what are they trying to do with the system and give them a name. As you're creating these personas, a couple tips just to keep in mind. Name them something that the team can remember. We often use a little bit of alliteration. We have, products or teams where we've used Mallory Mom and Savvy Susan, and those type of names allow you to kind of have fun with it, and makes it easier for the team to remember, and you'll see it come up in conversations like, oh, do you think that would really work for Mallory? And that helps kind of bring back and put yourself back in that user position throughout the development of the projects. If you find that any one user persona has too many goals, then you should consider splitting it up. That kind of goes a little bit hand in hand with the second one, where one physical person can embody multiple personas. Oftentimes within organizations, we wear many hats, and everyone's got a ton of responsibilities. So we can often be confused with this idea that one physical person who's accomplishing multiple goals is, a persona of this application, and that might not necessarily be the case. It might be easier to think of it as separated goals with separate functions, and then you can kind of digest the experience and help to keep it a little simple as you go through designing it out.